The asphalt scraped her palms as her body hit the ground. A ripple of laughter rolled through the crowd, low, cruel, dismissive. Someone muttered, "Pathetic. Should have known she couldn't keep up." But they froze when she moved. In less than a heartbeat, she twisted free, her hand snapping to the sergeant's wrist, her body coiling like a storm waiting for release. The laughter stopped mid-breath. Silence descended, thick, electric, undeniable. They had thrown her down like garbage. What they didn't know was that they had just awakened something they were not prepared to face. She rose slowly, every movement measured, deliberate. Dust clung to her jacket, her breath steady despite the fall. Her eyes gray, distant, sharp as winter steel, met the sergeant's. For a moment, the swagger drained from him. He had felt the strength in her hold, the precision behind her resistance. The others around him shifted uncomfortably, their earlier bravado curdling into unease. None of them knew her story. None of them cared to ask. But she carried it in every scar, every quiet breath, every unshakable step. Her name was Evelyn Carter. To them, just another woman who couldn't hack it. To those who had stood beside her in another lifetime, she was something else entirely. A medic in Afghanistan. A soldier who ran into fire when others ducked for cover. A sister to men who never came home. She remembered the desert heat, the sting of sand carried by rotor blades, the copper taste of blood in her mouth as she pressed her hands to a wounded comrade's chest. She remembered the silence after the firefight, when only her heartbeat reminded her she was still alive. And she remembered the burial flags, folded triangles pressed into shaking hands, her own voice hoarse from holding back tears. The weight of duty never left her, not when she stepped off the plane, not when she packed away the uniform. It clung to her, invisible yet immovable. Now, years later, she stood in a training yard among men who mocked her, who thought strength was measured only in muscle and noise. They could not see the nights she had endured, the nightmares she had survived, the brothers she had buried. They only saw someone smaller, someone silent. The sergeant smirked, trying to claw back control. "Get up, Carter. You think that little trick makes you tough?" His voice dripped with condescension, but the quiver in his hand betrayed him. Around them, the others watched, half curious, half cruel. No one stepped forward. No one offered her a hand. Silence became their judgment, their complicity. Evelyn dusted her palms against her thighs, her gaze never breaking. She said nothing. She didn't need to. Dignity wrapped around her like armor. Disrespect piled higher with every passing second. The sergeant barked orders louder, shoved harder, testing her resolve. Each shove was met not with protest, but with stillness, a patience that unnerved him more than defiance ever could. The bystanders whispered, their voices thin in the heavy air. Some pitied her, some mocked her, all waited for her to break. But she would not. In her silence lay a warning. In her stillness, a storm coiled. She remembered the faces of men who once doubted her in the field until she dragged them, bleeding through sand and smoke, until her hands stitched their torn bodies back into life. She had nothing to prove to them. Yet here she was, forced to carry herself with a restraint they mistook for weakness. Then it came again, the sergeant's hand on her shoulder, heavy, patronizing, meant to push her down once more. He thought he was teaching a lesson, but Evelyn had already learned hers long ago. Respect is not given in words. It is revealed when silence refuses to bow. Her hand moved faster than thought. In a single motion, she broke his hold, pivoted, and locked him in place with such fluid precision that his knees buckled before he could protest. Gasps filled the yard. What had been mockery now dissolved into awe. The sergeant's face flushed crimson as he struggled, humiliated, but her grip was iron, calm, unshaken. She released him not with anger, not with triumph, but with quiet dignity. The silence that followed was deafening. Evelyn straightened her jacket and finally spoke, her voice low but carrying farther than any shouted command. Strength isn't in who can throw another down. It's in who stands back up without losing themselves. Number 3. The words lingered, cutting through the arrogance like a blade. Even those who had sneered moments earlier now found themselves staring at the ground, unable to meet her eyes. A younger recruit, barely more than a boy, shifted uncomfortably, guilt pressing on his features. He had laughed when she fell. Now he saw something different, a woman who had endured more than any of them could imagine. The power shift was complete, not because she humiliated the sergeant, but because she revealed the emptiness of their cruelty. One by one, the men who had mocked her fell silent. Respect hung heavy in the air, unspoken yet undeniable. Even the sergeant, red-faced and humbled, could not find words. His authority had cracked, not through defiance, but through the weight of her unshakable honor. And for the first time, the silence was not against her. It was for her. She turned to leave, her steps steady, her back straight. Then she paused, her voice soft but resolute. We are not measured by how loud we command. We are measured by what we carry in silence. The line etched itself into their memory. For years to come, some would whisper it to new recruits. Some would remember it in moments of weakness, when arrogance tempted them to mistake silence for fragility. Evelyn Carter walked away, not triumphant, but free. She had nothing left to prove. And, as the crowd dispersed, something remarkable happened. One by one, they removed their caps, holding them over their hearts in a gesture unspoken, almost instinctive, a silent salute not to rank, not to force, but to resilience, sacrifice, and dignity that could not be broken. The sergeant stood frozen, stripped not of his uniform, but of his illusion of power. He could not chase her down, could not call her weak. In his silence, even he acknowledged it. She had won. And so the story of Evelyn Carter spread not through headlines, not through shouts, but through the quiet retelling of those who had seen her rise from the dust. A story of a woman thrown down like garbage, who stood taller than any insult, stronger than any shove. Her silence spoke louder than their laughter. Her dignity crushed their arrogance. We are not measured by how loud we command. We are measured by what we carry in silence. Some stories end with applause. Evelyn's ended with something greater, a silence so deep it became respect. And maybe that's the lesson. Honor doesn't shout. It simply stands. Wherever you're watching from, share this story with someone who believes silent strength is weakness. Comment below what this story means to you, and subscribe for more stories that honor the unseen battles of true silent heroes.